All right, let's go ahead and get this webinar started. Welcome to KMC's first Stuck on a Bucket webinar, where we'll cover all kinds of exciting technical issues. My name is Fritz Wickern. I'll be your host for today's webinar. I'll be joined by Brad Green and Clifford Milligan as well. For today's agenda, we'll be looking at the JACE 8000 end of life and the new JACE 8000 features. We will, get a little feedback. There we go. All right, so continuing on, we'll discuss the JACE 8000 features, or in that inline status, look at the new features of the KMC Converge modules, and take a look at the new Commander module. We'll have some time at the end for questions and answers, but feel free to throw any in the chat as we're going along. Also, be sure to stick around to the end as we'll be raffling off a Travis Matthew KMC hat. Good deal. I love little technical difficulties. All right, we'll back up just to give you a look at the agenda and then that fancy hat that we'll be auctioning or raffling off, rather. So we'll dive in. Like I said, the JACE 8000, it's been announced for end of life. Last time buy date. Make sure and keep up with the maintenance policies and matrix that are out there on the Niagara community for any specific details there. Looking at the JACE 9000, there's many improvements, optimizing new features of Niagara 4, and includes a number of exciting advancements, including increased performance and capacity to leverage tagging, templating, and visualization, a quad-core processor, increased RAM and storage, and faster startup and station load time. These JACE 9000 also supported and licensed for Niagara 413, which has some great enhancements, including improved HTML5 workbench views, support for containerized Niagara, and expanded email support and authentication schemes. KMC is currently completing our rebranding of the latest release, Niagara 4.3 U2, and the JACE 9000 series controllers, which will be available for ordering soon. There we go. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the KMC Converge modules and the latest features that have been added. If you didn't know, the KMC Converge toolset provides users the ability to configure, deploy, and program KMC controllers within the Workbench software. Some of those new features now include an Enotion gateway node, which is added to the station tree, showing any connected devices in the network manager. The Control Basic Editor now has added line numbering to aid in debugging, color coding for program text elements, and an animation to show when Control Basic program is compiling. The application deployment and audit views have been redesigned for a little better ease of use for the end user. Also, device fingerprinting functionality has been added to the application audit view. And now the net sensor objects can be configured to show in the upper and lower display of a net sensor. So let's switch over now and we'll take a look at the workbench. All right, so I've got pulled up one of Control Basic program. So looking at this, we've got our color codes. You can now go up to Tools, Options, KMC Settings, drill down into the Code Editor options, color coding. And here you can come in and change any of your text colors if you want to make your remarks a different color. Maybe change the line number colors to green, and then change the background of those to black. All this is available to kind of dress up and adjust your Control Basic Editor window here. I'm going to give it a second for it to update. Might have clicked on too many changes at once. And the joy of live demos. Alright, well, we'll come back to this one. There it goes, right as I was starting to move. So you see there, we've just got some little bit of options to help you if you don't see green well, whatever. You can change those coloringers around to help you be able to edit and manage your Control Basic programs. Another feature that we have, the line numbering. So if you have an error in your program, right, it pops up line 12. Now you can get through and find it and debug where that issue is faster. We'll move on, take a look at the Converge service, where we look at the application selection. It's been designed to make it a little more user-friendly, easy to go through. You can create or pull up an existing job, add applications out of the application library. You can select different applications as you need, save them to your job, and then from here you can build up device templates for whatever you have. We'll just create one for a VAV 111. You can set up all your default values here in this template. Set up your device instance number. And if you've got 3 of those, you can duplicate that. And you've got adjusted device instance number and device name. Once you're done with those templates, don't forget to save. Now you can go back. And from here, we can move simply to our deployment screen with the toggle buttons down here. From here, we can pull up the applications that have been saved to our job, our sandbox here. And you can match those templates up to your discovered devices. In this case, you can match by instance number, match by name, or you can manually match them just by selecting both. Once you've got those done, you can click match and then select your right device instance, right device name, and clicking save will start the process of deploying that application out to your VAV box. One nice feature that's been added is the ability to do a fingerprint to create a baseline of what that device is set at, what the default values are, what it was all set up before when you left the job. So when you get a call that something's not working, now you have a baseline to go back out, and you can come out and do the audit tab here, pull up that controller, run an evaluation of it. Once it runs through that evaluation, you can then pull up device details, and it'll show you where you have any discrepancies. And in this case, we've got just occupied Google set point is different from what it was originally. And you can choose to save that to your template, or you can revert it back, the device back to the original settings from here. So that's been added there. Again, once you're done with all these changes, anything you're working on, always make sure to save before you exit out of that. The next piece of feature updates comes in with the sensor port objects. Folder name has been changed. but you can pull these objects up now, and you have the ability to switch around what values are in the upper or lower display areas. And I think that about covers it as far as those quick little demonstrations to run through. So we'll switch back over to our presentation here. Now we'll talk about the KMC Commander Gateway. I'm not sure if y'all have heard much about Commander or know much about it, but it's the next generation Internet of Things solution that connects your equipment to the cloud and provides meaningful data in real time to your PC or mobile device. There's a whole lot of information out on our website about it if you want to go out and look more into it. What we're focusing on today is the new Commander Gateway module that allows you to pull data out of a JACE and directly up to the cloud. Some of those features include being able to read Boolean, numeric, enumerated, and string values, write to Boolean, numeric, and enumerated values. The KMC schedules through Commander are created and managed in the Commander cloud and transferred to the KMC Commander Gateway service to run locally. The KMC Commander text and email alarms are based on those values that are coming up from your Niagara system. And it supports up to 2,500 points. At this point, we will switch over, and I'm going to let Brad show us a little demo of that Converge module. Okay, stop sharing. All right. Brad, are you able to share your screen there?
All right. So you should be seeing the Niagara workbench. And as Fritz mentioned, we have a new Commander Gateway service that goes inside of the station. It's pretty easy to add to the station. Once you get the modules, you'll just find the KMC Commander Gateway module in your palette. And you just, to add this to this station, you just need to click and drag and drop it onto the services container of the station. And then it will be in there. And to set this up, when you first initially set it up, you'll be able to click the setup button link. You'll log in with your Commander username and password. And once you do that, you'll specify the license that you're using that's created. So once you set that up, that will make the network connection out to Commander. If you're not too familiar with Commander, I'll do a quick little run through, but it's just a dashboard, overview where you're creating cards and you can see these remotely from anywhere. So it's just on our Commander Cloud UI. And I have some examples here. So these points are coming from Niagara, just to kind of show you what you can do with this. So inside of my station, jump back over here, look at my sandbox. I got a few different object types, and we're going to focus exclusively on these. So it's the Boolean writable, numeric writable, string writable, and enumeratable. So we can write to those four basic primitive object types that are in Niagara. And we can also display the same four. So if you have objects coming in from like a backnet point and it's just a backnet object or a backnet point coming up to a Boolean point object inside of Niagara, you'll be able to display that. It doesn't have to be a writable point. But the emphasis that I want to put on that is that there are other objects inside of Niagara that you're probably familiar with using, like a ramp or a tstat or add block, min, max, etc. Those objects will not display in the gateway service. So it's just the primitive data types inside of Niagara, right? So when you connect to the cloud, you'll be able to go to the networks, and once you make a connection from the station and you log in, you'll have a network added. And I got a couple examples in here that I'm displaying. So like in this one, it's HR demo. that we just put on at the AHR show, and I have a couple different things. So I have a example remote station. You can see it's got the little exclamation point next to it. And then I have my station device itself. To find these, all I had to do is click Discover once I've added the network. And basically what that's doing is it's going to my Niagara system, and it's looking underneath my config container, and it's saying, find me any device that extends a B device in Niagara. So if I expand my tree and I come look underneath in my Niagara network, there's my example remote station. So this would be the same for other devices underneath BACnet or LAN or Modbus, what have you inside of there. So underneath this device, since it's just a sample device, you can see it's disabled, it's offline. That's why it's got the little exclamation point next to it in Commander, because it's down right now and offline. But I do have some points that I put in underneath there. So in the points, you can see I got like a Boolean numeric enum point in there. And if I go back, there's my example remote station. And if I go to look at its profile, you can see that it's got the objects there as well, but they're relativized to the path of the device. So when you want to add objects, you're going to find devices, and then you're going to find the objects underneath those devices. However, if you have information in your station, like I have here in my sandbox, that kind of overarches something outside of a device. This might be like some enthalpy logic or outside air logic that you're applying to multiple devices. We want you to be able to present that too and manipulate that in the Commander UI. So what we do for that is when you're in your networks and you go look at that network for Niagara, we present everything that doesn't reside underneath an individual device. We present that inside of a station container. So inside of there, you'll be able to see the objects. Like I have my station Boolean, station numeric, station enum, and station string inside of there. So those will be presented there. Once they're added, and it's pretty simple to add them in Commander. You're just selecting your objects after you discover them underneath your device, and you're saying if you want to be a point of interest and have a trend, and then you apply that profile, and then they're added to Commander. So once they're added to Commander, you can create cards. I won't go through that process right now, but it's pretty simple. You're just adding an instance of a card and applying it to your dashboard. So once they're added there, like in this card here, here's my station Boolean, and I'm now looking at that Boolean point kind of inside Niagara. I can quickly change it here to true, or I can click on the advanced settings, which, reload that, make sure it comes up. All right, so now I'm fetching the data from inside of Niagara. So right now, if I look at my priority array, it's being controlled on fallback. And if I want to make a change, I'm going to change my priority level to 8, and I'm going to give it a timeout of 2 hours. And I'm going to say write that. Oh, I left it at false. Let me do that again. So priority 8. Oh, maybe I did. We'll see. Go back over to Niagara. Yeah, I thought I had left it as false, but anyway, writing false or true doesn't really matter. It's still issuing the override at false, and you can see I got my timeout here that's going to last for the next 2 hours. And then also from within the UI, refresh this so we don't have to wait for the screen update. It should update here. I think it's 15 seconds maybe is the refresh rate. There it goes. So once you have a status inside of Niagara, you'll see an exclamation point next to it. And if you hover over that, it'll let you know the Niagara point status. So this is overridden inside of Niagara, and it's set to false. So if I click back on that and go to my advanced settings again for that object, and then I can scroll down and see in the priority array that it is false at 8. If I wanted to remove that, you just select your priority 8, say that you want to clear that, and then click the button clear priority 8. And that will, all the actions in here, it's important to remember, it's checking these every 15 seconds. So you might have to wait a little bit for the data to exchange and process, but once it does, it'll let you know station Boolean was cleared. So now I can go back into Niagara and see that it did indeed clear the override at 8 and remove the expiration as well. Fritz also mentioned the schedule, so I just cover that real quick and why we did it this way. Schedules can be set up inside of Commander, and I have one little schedule in here for the JACE that's reoccurring throughout the week. And won't really cover how to set those up, but inside of Niagara, what we do is when those schedules are created, underneath the service itself, we add a Niagara Cloud schedule. And the reason we do that is once the schedule is created, if there is a break in connection between the JACE and the cloud, at least your schedules are going to be there locally to execute. So obviously, if there's any updates to the schedule and you were offline with the cloud, you wouldn't get any updated changes, but any schedules that you implemented before the loss of connection would still be there. So just to kind of protect you from that. Within the Commander Cloud UI, we do have the ability to do alarms, trends. I do have a kind of an example trend here on the dashboard that I created where you can see just a couple points being trended, from the Niagara interface. So, and that's all I have for that. And if you have any more questions about it, feel free to let us know.
So Brad's Clifford here. I got a quick question. We got a little bit of time. So the Niagara alarm or the alarming function and the trending function, those are not associated with the alarms and trends inside Niagara, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So that's a good point of clarification. Yeah. If you have trends or histories inside of Niagara, we do not import them up to Commander. So you'll have to create the trends inside of Commander. You'll also have to create alarms inside of Commander. The same thing with schedules. If you have a schedule inside of Niagara, we don't bring that in either. We just, you create the schedule in Commander and it gets brought down to our service. And the schedule, in a sense, it knows what to write and when to write it based on what you set up inside of Commander, but that's all that it's doing is it's writing to an individual object, either a Boolean or a numeric or an enum. So it's not holding a whole schedule, and it's not sending a whole schedule down to Niagara. It's just containing a list of objects that you're writing to at the given times.
Awesome. And also, one of the things I want to clarify for the group is to be able to the alarming on this situation for notifications inside Commander. There's nothing to set up for SNMTP or anything like that. So when you configure a data point for an alarm, if you add it to a notification class or a notification email, it's all done internally with Commander. So there's no need to add anything from that standpoint. I just want to make sure everybody was clear on that as well. So yeah, we'll kick it back out to Fritz.
So that pretty much wraps it up. We'll move on here. Do we have any questions or answers that came in, or rather questions that came into the chat box? Or does anyone have any questions they want to throw out there?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, just feel free to put it in the chat. Also, if there's any questions that you feel free to reach out to your sales engineer or AVP, and we'll make sure we get a clarification over to you as well. Oh, we had something come in. Commander Apollo for JACE only, or can it be supported on Supervisor?
Yeah, right now we are launching with the JACE only up to 2,500 points. We are working on doing some scale testing and figuring out what we can do from the supervisor point of view. If you have a supervisor installation that you're considering, I would be willing to look into talking to you further and maybe doing an IFR beta test for that. So just reach out and let me know.
So if there's a mix and match, so let's just say that we had a site with Commander and with a gateway, and another one with Tritium. When it goes up to Commander, it all kind of goes to the same look and feel, or is it separate, Brad?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. In fact, the project that I was presenting was a demo that we did for AHR, and we have not only Niagara in that. I don't know if you caught it when I was in the network screen, but we have I think 4 different networks coming into there. So it's a Commander physical gateway. We have the Niagara gateway service putting data out there. A few different ones are all coming into that single project.
And does this work with just KMC JACEs, or can we put it on third-party JACEs as well?
Yeah, it'll support both. So open branded third-party JACEs. It can be licensed on as well as KMC JACEs.
I do not see any more questions in the comments, so we'll let you guys get out of here. I'll kick over to Fritz to talk about the next webinar next month and to give you some more details on the giveaway.
Sure. Yep. So yeah, next webinar, Friday the 23rd, we'll be sending an invite out for, but we're going to cover BATNet networking and dig into a little bit of that. That seems like a popular topic that comes up quite often. So we'll cover that in the next one. We're also interested and want to hear from y'all in the field of any ideas for topics you'd like to have discussed on here. So for future webinars. So get with your sales engineer or salesman, send those ideas in, and we'll go from there. Then we've got the raffle giveaway. Kyle, is that what we do live, or are y'all going to run that in the background and then get with the winner?
We're going to run it in the background. Everybody in the room today, we're going to run your email through a randomizer, and we'll be contacting you directly from email to figure out a way to get the hat shipped over to you. So
sounds good.
All right. And just to let everybody know, this session is being recorded, and we'll send out a link to everyone that attended today to watch back later, and it will probably be posting it on our socials and in YouTube channel as well for anybody that wants to share it. So thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. I appreciate everybody jumping on. Y'all have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.